Okay. Oops, you don't need to see that pencil. Okay, so I had this brilliant idea today that I thought, okay, I'm gonna crack this nail a little bit, and that would be like, oh yeah, I'm doing a nail repair. But what did I do? I cracked the whole thing off. So I glued it back on. So there's a huge step in it that's gonna be really hard to repair, but it's fine. I'm gonna work with this one for my nail repair first. It's just that it's a huge, I made a huge crack in it, so it's not ideal. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do for my nail wrap and repair is I'm gonna sanitize my hands. The first one I'm gonna use is the paper wrap. I don't have my blue paper towels out today. We're definitely gonna be using them next week when we do sculptured nails, which I'm really excited about, but not today. So I'm gonna do my paper wrap on my middle nail. You guys are gonna be doing a total of 5 paper wraps today. So you'll be doing 5 paper wraps and you'll be doing 10 silk wraps. So you'll do 5 paper wraps, 10 silk wraps today if you get them done, and that'll be the goal. So this is the nail that I'm gonna be working with. So I'm gonna follow my steps. I sanitize my hands. I know I have a clean workspace. I'm gonna clean the nail by using nail polish, which I have already done. I have my little pledgelets. You can use torn paper towels. Put this on here, clean the nail, and this goes in the trash. Okay, so then it's gonna ask me to gently push back the eponychium with my nail pusher, or you can use your orange wood stick. And please, you guys, we're gonna be watching you. I want you to do these steps every time you do nail services. I do feel like sometimes people are in such a rush, they skip past these, but these steps are gonna be important for your drill to make sure you don't miss any steps. And so these are habits, right? And this is something, you'll be doing a sculptured nail at State Board and you'll be doing these steps, and you really wanna get those habits. Okay, so I gently push back the eponychium. And now I'm gonna buff the nail to remove the shine, but I'm gonna use a medium abrasive. So I don't think that's a great sentence. I need to work on that sentence. So I'm gonna use a nail abrasive, which is a nail file that has a higher grit, so it's about 180. So it's not a buff. So I wanna remove all the shine on the nail and get all the oils off of it. And as always, I'm holding back the sidewalls when I'm doing any kind of filing because that's client protection. So this is just trying to remove shine. Okay, so when I'm finished with that, I'm gonna take my torn paper towel and I'm gonna get the nail filings off and throw that in the trash. Okay, so this is where I want you guys to, after we do the nail dehydrator, remember we don't touch the nail plate after that. So we're gonna apply the nail dehydrator. This really helps also to get all the oils off the nail. Okay, so this is the time where I specifically want you to take notes. I just want you to write down that this is a paper wrap. And please write down step 1 through 6 are the same as the procedure sheet, but the next few steps are going to be different. So for the paper wrap, we are going to be using a perm paper. We are going to custom cut a piece of that paper it's going to end up looking like this to fit the nail, staying 1/16 of away from the eponychium. So I'm going to take my perm paper and my scissors, and I'm going to custom cut like what I think the length, the width and the length should be. And you just want to leave it over the free edge a little bit so you can tuck that nail. So I'm just kind of measuring. You want to leave it over the free edge about 1/8 of an inch. So So I'm gonna start here where I'm cutting the size, and then once I get it to a certain spot, I'll keep checking it. You want to make the round part round where it's going to go into the eponychium area. Okay, so I cut a little piece out. This is very difficult to work with. It's a tiny, tiny little piece of paper. Let me tell you, and my fingers are not tiny. So I'm going to cut this little piece. Okay, so when I put it up to my nail to see where it's at, I'm going to put the rounded end in where the eponychium is, close to the end of the other end of the nail, and the straight part is going to hang over the tip. Okay, so this is still too wide. Also, I need to, okay, also too, you want to have your plastic ready that I talked about that we're going to be using once we apply the glue. Okay, so this is still a little wide, so I'm cutting the sides. We don't want this to hang over the side of the nail, and we don't want it to go into the free edge, to the eponychium. Why? Because it will lift the nail. This part is like not the fun part, okay? And I even pre-cut one. I thought I was going to cheat a little bit, but I'm really doing it for you here. No cheating, right? Okay, so I cut it again, and I'm going to see if this one fits a little better. Again, it's tricky. You don't want it to go over the sides, but you want it to cover. This one looks pretty good. I think just a tiny bit more on this side. Anybody have any questions right now? I'm okay for questions.
So it's okay. Is it okay, like, before I do this to, like, I still have to, like, file my nails down because I still have the tips on them.
Say that again.
Is it okay, like, today during, like, when we're doing the assignment, I still have to, like, file the nail tips off and everything?
No, so this should be done on nails that have nail tips on them.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so you know what? I'm really sorry, Victoria. That's such a good point. Okay, so this procedure, the whole purpose of putting a wrap or a tip on a nail, a wrap on a nail is to strengthen the tip. So specifically, the part when we're using the silk wraps are always done on tips because it does strengthen the tip. So when I was telling you guys the other day, and then I confused everybody, to have 3 hands done or 4 hands done and just take the nail polish off, yes, it meant that exactly. Take the nail polish off, but don't file down the tips. Now, can you file them down if you gave me long witchy poo tips out to here? Sure, you can file them a little shorter, but we have to be able to see the tips that you're working with. So what I want to remind you guys today is I want you to show me the hand that you're going to start with to make sure, we want to make sure that you have the nail beds, the tips, and that those are prepared to use. And then always, you're going to do your procedures. And then when you feel like you're ready to paint, you show us before you paint, and we'll give you permission to paint. And then you paint, and then you get credit. So that was such a great point, because these 2 nails that I'm working with have tips on them. So good job. Thank you.
So, Ms. Salido,
Yes.
we are using a paper, but we are actually doing a fabric wrap, right?
So this is paper first. I'm showing you paper wraps first.
Oh, it's not a fabric wrap?
No, nope. If you look on my sheets that we just talked about, I read to you within here, we're going to talk about paper wraps first, and then we're going to talk about silk wraps second.
Because when I was reading in the book, it says we don't use paper wrap anymore.
So paper wraps are for repairs. When you crack a nail.
We still do it?
We're going to do it. We're just going to do 5. Period. I'm just asking for 5. And okay. I can't tell you how many people came into the school, would come and just want us to fix a cracked nail. And we just did it with paper.
Because in the, like after 9 90, they stop using the paper wrap because it's not strong enough.
Yeah, it's not strong enough, but it works for a crack, and it
Yeah.
works for a crack that doesn't go all the way through like mine did.
Okay.
So good question. So again, that's why I just asked you guys to write in your notes. This is the paper wrap portion.
Okay.
So we're cutting the paper from a perm paper. And this is for repairs, but I want you guys to know about it. Okay, so I'm fairly certain that this one's gonna fit a lot really good. And so, like I said, you guys use this glue and that's fine. And I always wanna stick to using 2 drops, but I'm gonna use my glue that kind of paints on the glue, but I'm gonna try to get it to just do 2 drops for me so that you can see I'm gonna use the drops as well. And then I'm gonna show you how we use this plastic to make it stay on the nail. Okay, so the next steps after I know that this is the right size for my paper wrap for a repair, I'm going to now put the polish, I'm going to put the nail adhesive or nail glue on the nail. I'm gonna try to get it to drip on there twice. So I do one that's down this way and one I want to put by the crack because man, I really went in strong on the crack. It's terrible. Okay. So now I'm going to come in, the rounded edge of it goes towards the eponychium. I'm going to place that on there, which it can be difficult. Let me tell you, it's not easy. And I usually almost always stick my nails together. Okay, great. I got it on there. So this is, I'm also going to put some on the back side because I'm going to do a tuck. You're going to take your plastic and you're going to use your plastic because this won't stick to the glue to make that paper fit nicely on there. And it's going to help you with your tuck. So I spread the paper I use the plastic to spread the paper nicely on the nail. And the glue actually really spreads really nicely. And if you stick to only using 2 drops of glue, it's not too much. So it's kind of hard to see. But now that paper is covering my nail and I tucked it behind for strength. And I used my plastic to help get it on there. And my crack feels better. Okay, so once you feel like your glue has dried, with this one, you're only going to buff. You guys have flat buffers that look like this. This is abrasive, but they kind of look like this. I have a buffing block. And you do want to buff kind of gently because you don't want to take all of the paper away. So I'm just going to gently buff this and then I'm going to feel if it's smooth. Really still work on, you guys are doing an amazing job, but holding the nail where you're holding down the sidewalls for client protection so that you don't like repeatedly file and buff the sidewalls because that can be painful and damage the nail. Okay, so I'm just going to buff this. Just to smooth it out. And then you just want to feel it. And just remember that when we do the paper, we tuck the ends. It's not a file off. And then when you feel like it will look good when you paint it, you can stop.
So when you tuck the ends, but you're filing like the front, wouldn't that paper fall off? Or
It's kind of, yeah, it did actually. And I lost some on the top of it. But luckily for me, my crack was like down here. My crack was, and my crack went all the way through. And it actually feels like a lot better now.
so it's okay to like buff off the tip?
Yeah, and I think, to be honest with you, the reason we didn't send, Miss Knowles and I didn't send you guys these buffers, and we sent you the ones that we did, was because we did think these were too rough. And actually, I normally it won't have buffed off this edge, but this is the only buffer that I have, and so it's a little rough. So I don't think if you use, don't use your orange buffer if you can avoid it. Use the buffer that's shaped like this, because they're very nice buffers, and that will work a lot better with this procedure. This one is very rough, and so you'll find that it may not file that end off. Does that make sense? Really, you just want to buff where the paper is. And we're just showing you how to do a repair. So you shouldn't be able to see like any lifting on the paper anywhere. I don't know if you guys could see my crack before, but my crack looks a lot better. And I don't know, that's not necessarily a great statement. But anyway, so the crack looks a lot better. Any questions? Questions, concerns? No? Okay, so that's paper. And we're just gonna do 5. And we're not gonna be drilled on the paper, but I want you guys to know how to do them. Okay, so now we're gonna talk about the silk. Okay, so I'm gonna put this one down. And I'm gonna do the silk wrap on this one. So I'm gonna start everything all over again. I'm gonna sanitize my hand. I'm working with a clean workspace. I'm gonna clean the nail. I'm going to gently push back the eponychium. Don't forget this. Okay. All right, then we're gonna buff the nail to remove the shine. We're gonna use a medium adhesive board, abrasive board. So that's this, so that's the file. I'm just gonna remove the shine from the nail. Holding the nail, client protection. We're just removing the shine. I'm gonna wipe it off with my TPT or my pledgelets. My favorite word. And the next thing is we're going to apply the nail dehydrator. To the nail. Remember not to touch it with your fingertips after you've applied the nail dehydrator. Okay, so you're gonna open your package of silks. Can everybody tell me yes or no if you've all found your package of silks? Silk wraps. Does everybody know where they are? Because here's the thing, you have a bag that is your fiberglass nail bag, and you do not open that yet. That's strictly for fiberglass. Your silk wrap should look like this. And a lot of them are pre-cut. So they're already cut like little fingers that should fit to size. This one here, a little smaller one. So I'm going to start with that one. I'm going to cut it. Okay. And I'm going to put those back away where they belong. Okay, I also cheated and I made a pre-cut silk one that would fit, but I'm gonna be fair and I'm gonna work on this one. So again, this one has like a paper backing, so don't take that off yet. And then you're just gonna start to cut it to fit it. I know that I need to make it a little smaller, so I'm cutting it. You've got the little rounded side that goes into the eponychium. Okay, so I cut it and made it a little more narrow. I'm gonna see if it fits. I wanna make you, again, you wanna make sure that it's not gonna go over the sides. That looks pretty good, except for I'm gonna work on my rounded part. A little bit, yeah. Can somebody tell me now what do I do next with the silk wrap? One of the differences between this and the paper. Before I'm gonna put it on the nail.
Do you peel off the back or something?
Yes, very good. So I'm gonna peel off the backing, and you're working with a very, very, very fine area. Can you guys all see that? Okay, so this is the part that's gonna go on the nail. That's the silky wrap part. Now, what's the next step? What do I do next? Do I put glue now? Or do I put this on the nail?
You put that on the nail and then glue after.
Thank you so much. Put this on, try to get it on there straight. Okay, so now I'm gonna take my glue. Always stick with the 2 drops. That works really well. I think I'm in a glue deficit, so I'm gonna really have to get some new glue. So I'm gonna go with 2 drops. So 1, I like to put down here. And 1 goes down on the end. And then what am I gonna do? I'm gonna get my plastic and I'm gonna move around the glue on the nail to help it fit nicely and snuggy so it doesn't have any bubbles. The plastic is amazing because it doesn't stick. I need a little more glue. I think I need a little more glue on the end. I'm going to put a little more. Again, you're using the droppies. I get it. That's better. Okay, can anybody tell me what's the next step?
You file
File where first?
the tip.
File what?
The tip.
What am I trying to file off?
The extra silk wrap.
Very good. Thank you so much. So then this will just file right off. Let me see. I don't know if that's a good, if you could really see, but that's what it looks like. So now, again, we want to be pretty gentle with this. You don't want to use your file to buff the nail. We're going to use our buffer. Remember, my buffer is very rough. Your buffer is probably perfect, your real buffer, your nail buffer. And then we're just going to buff this. And you just want to smooth it out. Practice client protection and client safety. Buff for shine. You want to feel for smooth. You don't want to feel the glue on there, you know what I mean? That's pretty much what you're trying to buff right now. I don't know how well you guys can see that from the way the lighting is, but. Okay, so you're gonna buff and it says buff only until smooth. I feel like this is pretty smooth. Like I said, if I had a better buffer like you guys have, it would even look smoother. This one is just rough. So I'm gonna work on getting some of the good supplies that you guys have. Now, once you do that, you can paint and base coat, top coat, base coat, polish, top coat, and then you'll get checked off, and then you clean up your supplies and your implements. Okay, so Miss Martinez, you can stop the